What is up, you guys? My name is Nate the Effing Great, and welcome to another edition of The Game Changer. In this episode, it is indeed Raw and SmackDown, WWE really related. Usually I would talk about Lucha Underground, but I'm actually going to do a full Lucha Underground review on Ultima Lucha 3 as soon as the event is over, which will be in about 2 weeks. I will actually do it on Friday. So be sure to tune into that. But let's talk about Raw and SmackDown and a little bit of NXT. NXT actually has something very, very, very exciting that I want to talk about. So we'll get to that in just a bit. First off, talking about Monday Night Raw. How was Raw? It was actually pretty good, to be honest. I didn't have too much of an issue with it. I obviously know a lot of people are going to complain that for the first 2 hours that it was good, and then the final hour was very, very slow. Obviously, with them competing against Monday Night Football, it's a little tough to do at times. And obviously, they just feel like they just want to go, just not even try on the third hour. We kicked off Raw with Seth Rollins and Braun Strowman. Kind of an interesting way to set it up, but Braun Strowman defeated Seth Rollins, of course, with his vicious running power slam. Really good matchup to start off. Honestly, a lot of people are pissed about the fact that Braun Strowman didn't win the title at No Mercy. I myself am one of them. But we also see Braun in a bit of an interesting direction. He's basically just destroying everything that's in his path. He defeated Dean Ambrose last week. He defeated Seth Rollins this week. And then he took down Dean Ambrose again. Dean Ambrose tried to, intervene and try to help his tag team partner, but unfortunately Braun Strowman just said, yeah, no, not happening. Power slam again. And then the Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro came out, and they beat down Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, to which we see Cesaro garnering a new mouth guard, obviously, to make up for his, I don't know if I would say lack of teeth, but it is something that obviously is going to be there for a while. I don't know if it said the Bar, if it looked like a vampire teeth guard, but it actually still looked pretty cool. And Cesaro always looks amazing, and this is just making him look more like a badass. Elias Sampson defeated Titus O'Neil. First time I saw Titus O'Neil in a matchup in quite a while, actually. I can't even remember the last time I saw Titus O'Neil wrestle. He's been in that manager's Titus Worldwide deal for a while, that it's like, oh wow, I forgot he actually wrestles. So, nothing really too much you could say about this matchup. Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, they defeated Matt Hardy and Jason Jordan. Obviously, they're giving Jason Jordan something to do for the time being, and I guess Matt Hardy, they're just going to have him as a tag team wrestler until Jeff Hardy comes back, which does not signal well with me. I'm hoping that this will slowly start turning Matt Hardy into the Awoken Hardy, which I think is just as good as Broken Hardy. It really does kind of, come off the tongue pretty well, and I think that there's definitely a way that you can do Awoken Hardy, because, you could definitely say that Matt Hardy was just in this slumber for a long time, and now he's just been finally awoken after many millennia. It writes itself, basically, and Matt Hardy knows what he's doing. So let us have the broken Matt Hardy, woken Matt Hardy, whatever they want to call it. Just let us have it. We see the Intercontinental title matchup between Roman Reigns and The Miz, and in a DQ. Well, actually, I want to talk a little bit about this matchup a little bit. I know I missed one matchup, but I'm going to save that just for a little bit, because this was one of the cringeworthy deals. I think there were a couple cringeworthy deals in this night, but starting off with a good part of Raw, which was the Intercontinental title match between Roman Reigns and The Miz. Both these guys definitely did a great job in the ring. I loved, actually, the fact that Roman Reigns neutralized the Miztourage by basically beating both Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas down with chairs, setting them basically out of the ring, making it a one-on-one matchup. And we thought that Roman Reigns was just about to win the Intercontinental title, but unfortunately, the Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro, got involved. They grabbed Roman Reigns, they beat him down. We see this massive beatdown by Miz, Sheamus, and Cesaro, which ended in a triple powerbomb by Roman Reigns, onto Roman Reigns, I should say. And then we see all three men, Sheamus, Cesaro, and Miz, do the Shield, triple fist pose in the middle of the ring. And we ended Raw with a tease of Roman Reigns basically in the locker room. He's holding his body. He's feeling like he just got wrecked. He was in a car crash. And we see Dean Ambrose come in. He's just kind of not saying anything, just like, sup, what's going on? Just letting his eyes and his head kind of do the talking. And then Seth Rollins comes in, and then Dean and Seth leave after, I think it was felt like almost a 30-second deal, but it felt longer. But it was beautiful. The fact that the three of them are in the same deal, and we're getting a matchup in which the three of them are being forced to work together, which is interesting because I think a lot of people were thinking that they were just going to randomly appear together for some reason or other. But no, now they're basically being told, no, we're going to have you guys, basically being forced to work together because obviously you have a common enemy, and that being, the Miz, Cesaro, and Sheamus. So this is obviously building up to a matchup at the Tables, Ladders, and Chairs event, in which we will see Sheamus and Cesaro and Miz taking on Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, The Shield. That is obviously what this is building up to. It's more than likely going to be Full Metal Mayhem. A lot of people would say, well, no, that's actually called TLC. I'm calling it Full Metal Mayhem. I don't care, because everything's legal. Why not? Why not at this point? All right, another matchup on the card. Sasha Banks and Bayley defeated Emma and Alicia Fox. Nothing too much about that. One matchup that I purposely skipped because I really have a lot to say about this. Mickie James defeated Nia Jax via DQ. Okay, so what in God's green earth what is this? First of all, we see Alicia Fox and Emma laughing at Mickie, calling her an old lady, and saying that, oh, there's a present in your locker, and blah, blah, blah. Mickie goes in, and she sees, adult Depends, there's a walker, all of these more elderly I wouldn't even call them gifts, elderly products. Dear Lord, that was so stupid. It's come on. I immediately, when I saw these, I thought to myself, oh God, I'm getting flashbacks of Piggy James, where Michelle McCool and Layla, they just, made fun of her, making her seem like she's fat and she's, disgusting. This is the same scenario. It's why are you doing this? This makes absolutely no sense to do this. Why? Why? It's to give Alexa Bliss heat? No, she's better than this. She's better than that, This Is Your Life deal, which was an atrocity. She's better than doing these kind of deals. She just needs to own Mickie James on the mic. That's it. She doesn't need to do this stuff. Oh, let's not forget the fact that Nia Jax apparently has developed amnesia to where, hey, a week ago, she's like, I want the title belt. This week, she's just like, oh, me and Alexa Bliss, we're besties again. And I don't even care about the championship anymore. It's what it felt like. It made absolutely no sense. And this, of course, brought in Nia and Mickie James having a matchup. Alexa Bliss got involved when Mickie hit a DDT out of the corner. And Mickie James is getting the advantage. And then we find out that at Tables, Ladders, and Chairs, it will be Mickie James versus Alexa Bliss for the Raw Women's Championship. Okay. I'm actually okay with this. I'm okay with the two of them fighting for the Raw Women's title. It's going to give, I guess you could say, Alexa something to do until Asuka comes in. There we go. And Mickie is a viable contender. I just hate that they basically just pulled her up oh, hey, she's a former women's champion. She's a former Divas champion. She's won the title before. It's like she could have been a mainstay on storylines for a while now. You could have had her facing off against Bayley and Sasha for the time being. But they decided, nope, we're just going to, have her in the background for a while. Then when we need her, oh, hey, Mickey, come in. We want you to be a part of a storyline. It made no sense. It's really dumb. And I feel like it's just very disrespectful to have Mickey James just be in the back burners for the time being, and then being told, oh, hey, we're gonna bring her back now. It's like, why? Just why? But again, it's cool to see that. It's cool to see Mickey James is getting a title shot at TLC. I'm totally fine with that. This was something actually that also got a bit of conversations going. I listened to a couple podcasts about this, and I understand the point they're trying to make, but at the same time, this is kind of okay. So while these storylines and everything's going on with the women, they also did a segment in the ring about the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and Dana Warrior, she was in the ring talking about, her husband, and also about how the breast cancer survivors are warriors and that they always fight the good battle. And one of the things that people were really criticizing was the fact that, all the women, they're in the ring, they're all bestie buddies, and they're celebrating that these breast cancer survivors have done well and they've won the war and they're hugging each other and blah blah blah. It's one of those things where they're just saying they should have done that earlier. What was the point of doing the storylines and then cutting to this? I don't see that as a big deal at all. Look, I understand that kayfabe is dead, and I know that there's certain points where it's like, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be doing this when you guys are involved in this kind of a storyline. There's some people that will be very committed to the storyline, and they will stay within kayfabe, which I totally respect. And then there's some that obviously have a life outside of wrestling. You can't just force them every single time to stay in character. It's not always going to work like that. And for an occasion like this, when we're talking about breast cancer survivors, or the fact that at the beginning of the show, each show, Raw and SmackDown, they pay tribute to what happened in Las Vegas. And they're basically saying, like, why are these people standing next to each other? They hate each other. Why are they doing this? And blah, 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 blah. It's like, this is different. This is completely different. Don't mix fantasy with reality. The reality being that they were celebrating breast cancer survivors. The reality of them basically showing their support for people who died in Las Vegas. Don't confuse the two. They're two completely different things. I can separate the two. I don't have to be nitpicky about, these things like, oh, well, this person is, Mickey James and Alexa Bliss, they shouldn't be next to each other because they hate each other in storyline. I don't care. If they're doing something good, that's different. That's different. If they're doing something like that in real life, that's different. That's different from fantasy. I hate when people just confuse the two. You're making the product more complicated. It's like, hey, everybody wants to celebrate this breast cancer awareness survivors. Fine, let them do it. No bitching, no complaining, no nothing. Don't do it. Don't even criticize it. It makes no sense. So, my opinion, I know the difference between reality and fantasy. Just shut up. That's all I'm going to say is just shut up. Everybody knows that wrestling is predetermined. Just stop. I understand where you're coming from, but stop. There's a difference. That felt good. All right, so let's see what else we had on the card here. This was actually very interesting. This is something that really piques my interest on Monday Night Raw. They had a segment with Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt, and obviously they're going to continue that feud. It's obviously going to come into TLC, but Bray Wyatt's had two different kinds of promos where he talks about Sister Abigail and how she always says, they always lie, but I will never lie to you. And boy howdy, oh man, this was unexpected. When we see Oh my gosh. Yeah, we see the reveal that Sister Abigail, she's not dead. She is alive, and she wants to meet Finn Balor. Oh boy. This may be interesting, because then we see this kind of transition from Bray Wyatt face to just this face of it was different. It was completely different. And I had no idea if it was Bray Wyatt in like a face paint or something like that, or if it was somebody else. But there have been speculations that Sister Abigail is going to be making her debut very, very soon. And everybody has been asking, well, who's going to play Sister Abigail when she comes back? Some people have suggested Paige, some people have suggested Bayley, some people suggested Becky Lynch, all these names. And those were good names until one women's wrestler in particular actually posted a picture on her Twitter stating the same thing that Bray Wyatt said, and that was, they lied to you, they lied to you, they lied to you. I never lied to you. That women's wrestler named Sage Beckett. Sage Beckett, you might remember, I actually did a review on the Mae Young Classic. She was involved in the first round, and a lot of people might remember her as Rosita Ladalove, as well as Andrea. Oh man, I cannot see anybody else playing Sister Abigail more than Sage Beckett right now. This would be absolutely amazing if she debuts as Sister Abigail, because it may give Bray Wyatt some more motivation. It may give him a big storyline. And I think that with having Bray Wyatt with someone, I think it's going to really elevate him. Him going completely solo, it's not working. There's something missing there with Bray Wyatt. He's winning a lot of matches, don't get me wrong, but there's something missing. For Bray Wyatt, he got super over when he was with Luke Harper and Eric Rowan, and he was, he had this cult that was following him, and then, you added Braun Strowman, and that made things more interesting. Then they all split up, and it's like, well, I guess, oh boy, this is not going to end well, is it? And it really didn't. So, yeah, I'm interested in seeing where this goes. I'm very interested in seeing where this goes. I am honestly hoping that it is not... This is the worst case scenario. If this builds up to Bray Wyatt just turning himself into quote-unquote Sister Abigail, this whole storyline's a waste. There's no point in it being there. But if he actually debuts somebody who can either be the embodiment of what Sister Abigail is, or the... just basically almost like, Sister Abigail found another soul to be one with, basically. And, Sage would be the one that she maybe converges with. I just think that would make a lot of sense. Alright, so one more thing to talk about Raw, and then we'll go on to SmackDown. Oh boy, I'm looking forward to that. So, Raw ends with the Cruiserweight division. Now, I like the fact that they're always ending it with the Cruiserweights. I think it's really interesting to see that they're finally giving the Cruiserweights, kind of like a main stage platform that's like, hey, we're having you guys close off the show. But it also feels like a backhanded compliment, because it's always because of the fact that they are doing it because they've basically given up, because they've already had so many hours. Because all their main stuff they put into the first 2 hours because of Monday Night Football. The final hour is just kind of like, whatever. It legitimately does feel like the last two Raws were like pay-per-views, where it's like, hey, first 2 hours, these are awesome, final hour. Hit and miss, really. Last week, Enzo got beat up by all the Cruiserweights, and this week he basically talks about all the consequences that, hey, you guys laid a hand on me, you guys don't get a Cruiserweight title match, and then he just talks about how if you touch him again, not only will you guys be, out of the division, but you will be out of a job. So basically, if they touch him, he's fired. So all the cruiserweights are just surrounding the ring, and boy howdy, Enzo basically tries to bury every single one of the cruiserweights, which I really wanted to punch Enzo. It was one of those things where it's like, I hate you. I hate you. I hate that you are just basically trying to bury the division, that you're representing the division, and you're basically just saying like, yeah, screw you guys, I don't care. But then Kurt Angle, he says, yes, you did. We did make sure that, that anybody who did touch you last week would not get another title shot, and that they would get fired. But he just signed a new cruiserweight, Kalisto. I know it does seem like it's very watered down. I actually like the fact that they have Kalisto finally in the cruiserweight division. I know a lot of people were making it seem like, oh, well, it should have been somebody bigger. It should have been somebody from, like, the NXT roster or somebody bigger. But no, it's Kalisto, who they've had for a while. Right now, Kalisto definitely deserves some kind of shot, because this is a guy who they had faith in. He's a 2-time United States champion. He's a guy that they trust to have a shocking moment with Alberto Del Rio last year, and it did great. And then he had another great matchup with Del Rio at the Royal Rumble. He had a great 2 out of 3 falls matchup with Del Rio at Fastlane. He had some pretty good matches with Ryback before leaving, and then they just decided, let's just give it to Rusev. It doesn't really work on Kalisto. I think that they should have kept it on Kalisto for a while longer. I just legitimately think it would have worked out pretty well. But now we're getting Kalisto in the cruiserweight division. It's like, okay, great, something new, something different. And of course, everybody's complaining. It's like, it's just Kalisto. It's just Kalisto. And I'm probably the only one that's like, oh, right, Kalisto, former 2-time United States champion, one of the members of the Lucha Dragons. Awesome. That was literally my reaction when I saw Kalisto. I'm like, oh, baby, that is amazing. Kalisto hit the Salito del Sol on Enzo. Cruiserweight division's all cheering. And you have to remember, guys, that the fact is, right now, Kalisto's the only one that they can use. Because of this whole stupid contract thing that Enzo decided to write up, it's like, well, who else can they challenge? Is he just going to forfeit the title? Is he just going to somehow hold the title for a long time? Nope, we're going to have him face Kalisto. I'm totally okay with that. I'd much rather have Kalisto as the champion than Enzo Amore anyway. Let's face it. So Raw, all in all, was still pretty good. Like I said, the third hour dragged quite a bit, but I found no reason to, hate it fully. All right, so we move on to the SmackDown Live, in which we have Carmella and Natalya defeating Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. This one actually took me a bit by surprise. I was actually not expecting Charlotte to tap out to the sharpshooter by Natalya, but it also makes for a very interesting story going into Hell in a Cell, because of course we have Natalya versus Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's Championship. It definitely does give Natalya that momentum going in. I would have thought that they would have given Charlotte some momentum going in. And I will say this, that I think that Charlotte might be walking out as the SmackDown Live Women's Champion. I think that with everything that she's went through over the past few months with her dad, it's something that really says to me that she deserves it for all the hard work and pay and blood, sweat, and tears that she put into the business. Now, a lot of people are definitely going to disagree. They think that Natalya definitely deserves it, but I just think that it'd be really cool to see that. I don't see Natalya as a very long reigning champion, and a lot of people are saying like, well, Natalya just won it. Natalya just won it. It's like, well, technically, no. She won it at SummerSlam. She's held it for about, I want to say a month and maybe a week, roughly. So it's actually a pretty good run so far. Although it would be shorter than her Divas title run, which was about maybe 2 months worth at least. So I can see why that's a bit of an issue. But I don't know. I just don't think there's that much profit going on Natalya right now. I was kind of surprised to see Natalya win the 5-way elimination match and then win the title at SummerSlam. It created shock value, but is Natalya really the right champion at this point? I disagree. I think that, Naomi still had quite a bit more momentum that she could have gone with. But I guess they have other plans. WWE just wanted to go that way. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Natalya versus Charlotte goes down. I feel like both women can win. I'm pulling for Charlotte, though. And a lot of people are saying, well, maybe this is going to be the night that Carmella cashes in. This might be the one where Carmella cashes in. I could see it happening, but I don't think it's going to. I think that she's just going to tease it again and then skip away. I just think that's how it's going to go. Bobby Roode defeated Mike Kanellis with the glorious DDT. And a lot of people noticed that Maria was not at ringside, actually. And, of course, that's because that Mike and Maria are expecting a baby. So congratulations to Mike and Maria. I mean, man, it's going to be like a year end for divas and babies, really, right now. They have Maurice make her announcement. Mike and Maria made their announcement via Twitter. It's pretty cool to see that. And unfortunately, though, it's going to hurt Mike Kanellis. And I really like Mike. He's actually really good in the ring, but they're just doing absolutely nothing with him. I would love to see Mike just start getting win after win after win after win. And then when Maria comes back, maybe, he's basically doing this thing where, hey, I've had to, scratch and claw on my own without you. Something like that. But nothing like too major. Like, don't make it seem like, oh, they're going to go into a divorce angle. No. Just one of those things where maybe Maria, coaches another wrestler into beating, her hubby, and then they have like this nice little not reunion of sorts, a makeup of sorts, where they just say, oh, I'm sorry, and then of course they can go back to their power of love deal, and hopefully it works better. But the interesting part about this was the thing that happened after Bobby Roode's matchup. We saw Dolph Ziggler come out, and he's just mocking Bobby Roode, basically again just mocking the whole entrance deal. And just stating that, you're just all, that Bobby Roode is just nothing. He's just all hype, no show in the ring. And that he's going to basically, steal the show and steal a victory from Bobby Roode. And I love Bobby Roode's response. A lot of people probably thought it was lame. Bobby Roode just says, you call that doing an entrance? No, this is how you do an entrance. And of course he does this whole deal where he just waves his arms and then does glorious, no, I won't give it. I love that. And I still see Bobby Roode as one of my absolute favorite wrestlers. I just really hate that he's in a shuffle right now. He's finally getting into a major big deal right now. He's finally getting to his first angle. And so many people are probably just going to look at it like, oh, well, they're nobody that are really going to give this that much expectations. But I'm expecting Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler to be one of the highlights of the night. I think that one of the Hell in a Cell matches will definitely be match of the night. But I think that, close number 2 is definitely going to be Bobby Roode versus Dolph Ziggler. Or it could be number 1. You never know. We see Ty Dillinger defeat Baron Corbin. And Baron Corbin is still on this losing streak going into Hell in a Cell. A lot of people are thinking that he might pick the U.S. title belt up. I think it'd be interesting to see that. I don't think he's going to, unless AJ Styles then goes after the WWE Championship. But stranger things have happened, I guess. We also see Randy Orton defeat Aiden English, building momentum against Rusev on Sunday. That's going to be another... I'm hoping that it's not going to be another, 15-second, squash or something like that. That would just be stupid. I am thinking that Randy Orton versus Rusev is going to be really good. It's going to be a pretty good matchup. I'm looking forward to it. So, some in-between stuff that happened. Nakamura started the show basically talking about how sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never harm me. Actually, worms can hurt you because of Worms Armageddon, Worms, just the Worms video game. I'm making a video game reference. I know it's lame, whatever, but basically Nakamura is just showing that he is not fazed by Jinder Mahal, and then Jinder Mahal gets an attack from behind and hits the Colossus on Nakamura. I really am hoping that they have Nakamura win the title on Sunday, but I think that they're going to have Jinder Mahal walking out as champion because they're going to have their shows in India next month, I believe, and they're basically going to have like a conquering hero is going to make his return. In all honesty, I want to see Jinder Mahal drop the WWE title and win the US title. That's what I want to see. That is legitimately what I want to see right now, because honestly, this whole anti-American thing would work better if he was holding the US title. That's the only way this would work. With him with the WWE title, it's not working. Have Jinder Mahal win the US title, do maybe like a anti-American open, this American Open where he basically, maybe he's one of those guys who puts up like a 3-minute clock down. So kind of like the Kurt Angle Invitational, where it's like you got like this amount of time to beat me, and if you beat me, you'll get a U.S. title shot, something like that. I think that'd be actually very interesting. We also saw the Usos and the New Day. Holy cow! What a great segment between the two of them, where the Usos were basically giving their rights to the New Day, stating that the Hell in a Cell is like the Uso penitentiary, and New Day just come out. They kind of joke a little bit, but then they talk about how Hell in a Cell is going to be a barbaric matchup, and that this match will indeed be hellacious, and it's going to be a war between these two teams. It is absolutely going to be great. I love the promos that they do. I love the segments that they do. I am really hoping that the Usos win on Sunday, because right now they have no heel tag teams. It's as simple as that. They have no heel teams that they could really work with other than the Usos. So have the Usos win, and then have the Usos go float away from the New Day. And I say have them work with the Fashion Police, who will make their return on Sunday at Hell in the Cell after what was seemingly, I want to say like a month off. They're finally back, which is like, oh, I'm okay with that. I love myself some Fashion Files. I love the Fashion Police. More please and thank you. And then we ended with Shane McMahon and Kevin Owens having a face-to-face, but it was not really a face-to-face. It was just a big old brawl. But it's also announced that the Hell in the Cell match between Shane McMahon and Kevin Owens will be a Falls Count Anywhere Hell in the Cell match. This, I don't feel good about that, because unless the finish to the Hell in the Cell matchup is on the top of the cell, I don't see any reason for this Falls Count Anywhere stipulation to be in there. I just don't, I don't get it. I really don't. It really makes absolutely no sense, because the Hell in the Cell is supposed to keep people in, really. Unless, they get speared on the outside, or somebody gets thrown through one of the cage walls, or through the door, stuff like that. It like I said, it's supposed to keep people in. And to have the Falls Count Anywhere deal, it doesn't seem to make too much sense to do that. I don't know. It's really weird. But like I said, this was basically another excuse for Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon to brawl with each other. Kevin Owens hit a massive pop-up powerbomb to Shane McMahon. But here's the interesting thing that I wanted to note, is that before this all happened, Shane McMahon was in a conversation with Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn basically saying that he wanted to be back up for Shane, just be there for him for support, and Shane's like, no, I got this. How crazy would it be if at the last minute Shane McMahon is not able to wrestle, and they have Kevin Owens fight a replacement in Sami Zayn? So you have Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens in a Hell in the Cell matchup at the Hell in the Cell event. In all honesty, it still feels like they are trying to keep the fire going with the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens, feud. Last week they had the great promo between the two of them where Kevin Owens basically saying like, oh, well, you know something? I've been Intercontinental Champion. I've been Universal Champion. I've been a 2-time United States Champion. And what have you done? Oh, that's right. You've done nothing, basically, since coming to the main roster, basically is what he's saying. But Sami Zayn, rebutted saying, I've shown a lot of heart. I've shown a lot of tenacity. And he wanted to basically fight off against Kevin Owens. And they had a good matchup for the most part. The problem was that Kevin Owens hit his power bomb on the apron, and that was it. It was like, oh, well, that kind of sucked, because after that the referee called for the bell, and then Kevin Owens just beat down on Sami Zayn more and more. I don't know. It was a really weird way to end it, but I would really love to see them continue this feud. Just have Sami Zayn replace Shane McMahon. A lot of people, I think the buy rates would actually go up. As much as people would think that, they're already up because of Shane McMahon. No, I would think that if they did that swerve, it would go up even higher. Because then you're seeing, Kevin Steen versus El Generico inside Hell in the Cell. Awesome. I would love to see that. I really would love to see that. And somebody actually posed the question of who could be the one to defeat Jinder Mahal for the WWE title, and Sami Zayn's name came up because basically they could tell the story of how Sami Zayn had the opportunity to become WWE champion, but the Singh brothers and Jinder Mahal cost him that opportunity, and they could build off of that. Maybe have Sami Zayn win the Royal Rumble, and he would go on to defeat Jinder Mahal at WrestleMania for the WWE title. I would love to see something like that, but I would replace Jinder Mahal with Kevin Owens. Have Kevin Owens win the WWE title, and then we see Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at WrestleMania. That would be amazing. Because if you remember Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens at Battleground, you know that they could put on one hell of a matchup. Last year, they tore the house down, and they told a story. It was amazing. It was awesome. Do that again at WrestleMania, and just even double it. Double the effort, and you will have a match of the decade candidate. So I'm hoping that they do something more with that. I'm hoping that maybe we see Sami Zayn be the one that, fills in Shane McMahon's spot. That would be awesome. I'd be okay with that. I'm sure a lot of people would be okay with that. But yeah, so Raw and SmackDown, who wins? Raw. Even with the slow third hour, I felt like there was a lot more stuff going on, and that there was more interesting things about Raw. SmackDown, they did okay with their final build-up to Hell in the Cell. I'm hoping that Hell in the Cell does not bomb, because that would just suck. Alright, so NXT. There was actually a little bit of news that I wanted to cover, and this is actually going to be the final thing that I talk about before wrapping up the show. So, the next NXT TakeOver show is entitled War Games. Let that sink in just for a little bit. NXT TakeOver War Games. Well, actually, I think it might be NXT TakeOver Houston. But anyway, the fact of the matter is they are going to have a War Games match at at the next NXT TakeOver. Oh boy, I've watched already 3 War Games matches, and I had no idea what this was like. I had no idea what was going to happen, but I soon found out that this was basically like TNA's Lethal Lockdown, GFW, Impact, whatever. I don't care. So basically, starts off with 2 guys in the ring, and after 5 minutes, one team member comes in, and then after that, people start coming in after 2 minutes until everybody comes in. And the only way to win, well, most of them, was by either surrender or by submission. That I loved. I truly loved that stipulation, because how do you make this even more brutal, say to them, you can only win by submission. It's easy for somebody to just knock somebody out and just do a pinfall, but no, you have to get them to actually say that they're done, that they can't take any more. And major spoilers, as far as who's going to be a part of the War Games match, it is going to be the Undisputed Era, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, and I'm trying to remember, and Bobby Fish. That's right. They will be. Oh, it is NXT Takeover War Games. Yes, love it, 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 love it. They will be taking on Sanities, Alexander Wolf, Eric Young, and Killian Dane, and a third team of the Authors of Pain and Roderick Strong. Oh, this is just beautiful. I am loving this. I love this match, and I even want this match right now, please. That would be amazing. I'm very curious on how they're going to do this. Are they going to have just one ring, or are they going to have two rings? Is the cage going to be different, or is it going to be kind of what you would expect it to be? What is this War Games going to be like? And there's a lot of people that are very concerned because WWE has tried doing a lot of these other generic matches from other promotions, and they have not always worked out. But I think War Games will be an exception to that. I think that WWE is going to be smart, and they are going to create something memorable at NXT TakeOver War Games. It's going to be hell. This match is going to be absolutely insane. I am looking forward to seeing how they deliver this. They have 9 of the top wrestlers in that NXT brand fighting. What are they going to be fighting for? Maybe for the NXT Tag Team titles? Maybe for a shot at the NXT Championship? Who knows? But what I do know is that it is going to be an absolute wrestling classic. I am looking forward to this. I want this now, but I will wait. I will be patient. NXT usually does a great job with these sort of matches. So, that is going to wrap it up for this edition of The Game Changer. If you like what you see, leave me a like, leave me some comments on what you guys think, especially with the build-up to everything that is going on. Hell in the Cell coming up, NXT TakeOver War Games. So much going on. And, guys, follow me on Facebook. Give me a like on the page, facebook.com/changing up the game, as well as giving me a follow on Twitter at RealFNGame. I have been Nate the Effing Great. Thank you for joining me here. Tune in tomorrow, to which I will talk about a list that I had some issues, to say the least. We'll just say that for right now. Definitely tune into that. And also on Sunday, live reactions for Hell in the Cell on YouTube, and we'll even try to do it again on Facebook, because last time Facebook just said, oh, no, you're doing something right. We haven't done anything wrong. We didn't do anything wrong, so shush. Alright, so that is going to wrap it up for this edition of The Game Changer, guys, and we will see you in the next episode. Bye-bye!
There's not a moment to spare. It's quite a drop from the top. So how you feeling down there? It's a cold